Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, propaganda is an extremely potent tool. It's everywhere. And I think people have a misconception that it's only propaganda if it's really obvious. Like they expect it to be a Uncle Sam poster or the Rosie the Riveter thing, like that art style, that sort of messaging. But propaganda, by definition, is just information that attempts to persuade you or even dissuade you from a certain point of view or political opinion or really anything at all. It doesn't have to be political or partisan in any way, and frankly it doesn't necessarily have to be true either. A lot of propaganda is misleading or coming from a biased slant, but that's what propaganda is. I think a really good example of the non-political type is the polio vaccine. If y'all don't know how that happened, Elvis actually got his shot on TV. um, they use that for this sort of like marketing ad campaign, if you want, for the polio vaccine, and it worked really well. Before he got his shot, the United States was around 60% coverage, and afterwards it was over 90%. Huge jump. And as effective as that was, and as much as the right choice that was propaganda nonetheless. That was the American government using a face that everybody knew and trusted to say that this treatment was effective against a disease. And again, admittedly, it was. It was very effective. I mean, how many people do you know now who have polio? I genuinely say you can thank Elvis for that because his contribution, him doing that, did change a lot of people's minds. It gave them a lot more faith in that treatment. But you can't say that that's not propaganda. It's good propaganda, but it's still propaganda nonetheless. When you start to get into the more modern age, I think one that a lot of people hear now is about the kids. Protect the kids. You got to keep them safe. You got to make sure that they're not being exposed to things that might change or break their minds. And it's, to a degree, it's true. That's what makes propaganda so interesting because yes, children are very vulnerable. They are more susceptible to harm than adults are. But if that's all it takes for you to break your morals, think about how the Patriot Act happened. Everybody was so concerned about security and safety that we gave up our right to privacy. And if that's all it takes is just to feel afraid that someone's gonna, you know, if you're afraid something's gonna happen and that's all it takes for you, I you're very susceptible to propaganda, unfortunately. Um, Moving into even more involving the kids, it happens during war a lot. The enemy butchers children, the enemy drinks the blood of babies. That one, blood libel, has been going on for thousands of years. It's been used as justification for lots of wars. People will say that, how else are we supposed to save them? They're barbarians. Look at what they do. They're demons. We have to drive them out. And it works. That's been one of the most effective propaganda campaigns of all time. And the way that war is reported also is a source of propaganda. I saw a CNN headline the other day that said 800 Israelis killed, 600 Palestinians dead. Well, how'd they die? I don't think they just fell over. But that language will change the way you think. Dying is normal, natural even. Killing is an action. Not everybody's killed. Somebody did that to you. Everybody dies, but not everybody's killed. It it affects you. It affects the way you think. It can affect you emotionally. I saw this truck going around. Someone took a picture of people's faces on the side of it talking about anti-Semites at this college. And these students were people voicing their support for Palestine, the people of Palestine, not Hamas. They have relatives over there, or they just want to see an end to violence. And that got them labeled as anti-Semites. When you have students at these colleges who are open white nationalists and neo-Nazis, but those aren't on the truck, and you got to wonder why that is. What are they trying to push on you? What emotional state do they want you to have? How do they want you to view these people? Or do they even want you to view them as people? That's the important part, you know? There's a lot of parallels you can find between the way the news is presenting things now compared to how they presented things at the start of the war in Iraq and, you know, America's involvement in the Middle East during the, you know, early 21st century. It's stark, the comparisons. And like I said in my video yesterday, I am deeply concerned as to where this is leading us as a people and as a world. All I can ask you is to be more vigilant about the information you take in. Propaganda is everywhere. Like Garfield said, you're not immune to it. Be vigilant. Keep it, you know, on the forefront of your mind that everybody's trying to change the way you think and how you feel. So, hopefully you can stay frosty, but I guess until we see more, y'all try to have a good day.